Hey guys, Jeff back with another plarn video, and I realized in doing my plarn videos that it didn't make sense for me to do all these other projects when I haven't showed you how I make one of these large bags. The ones that started it all for me, the ones that are still my go-to, my fallback project. You can see it's a pretty large bag. This takes me around 200 grocery bags to make. You've seen in my other video where I talked about how you can make balls of plarn out of plastic grocery bags, but I thought I would take you through the process in this video, and I will, in the description, have a detailed list of my pattern for this bag. This is a adaptation of a pattern that I found back 15 years ago. I can't remember where I found it. It was some blog, but the beauty of the pattern is, number one, it is seamless because I am no good at joining around and then moving up when I'm doing crochet. It's always a weak spot, but these are just one spiral, so you have no seam, no weak spot. Additionally, these use, in American, we call it the half double crochet, which makes for a very thick and sturdy and strong stitch. And so I've really love these. So with that said, let's go ahead and get going. I use don't know if it's showing up there, but the N size needle, which is 9 millimeters. And I start with a chain of 19 stitches. Now after I do that, and again, I'm going to show the stitch because I know that the Americans call the stitches one thing and people overseas might call it another. So I do a yarn over. I go, and I know this is different than how most people do it, but I go back, not through the top part here, but down through this loop here, 2 stitches back. So now I've got 3 loops on here, and I'm going to grab that and come through all 3 of those. And you can see it kind of gives us a gap here, but we'll deal with that when we get to the end here. Now, when we're working on the base, because these do have, you can kind of see it on this one over here, these have a flat base. They can stand up by themselves if you give it a little flop when you do it, but it'll stand up by itself. You can load your groceries, load your garden goodies, your projects for making things, whatever you want. So to do that, we continue down this chain. Of course, now that I've set it down, I've got myself a little turned around. Alright, I am going to pause the video and be back with you when I get down to the end of this. Alright, I've gotten to the end of the chain here, and the whole trick to making the flat base is that at the end you're always looking for 3 stitches. So here, right at this last stitch, I'm holding things a little too tight it seems, but I'm going to put in, I'm going to try to put in, there's one, and right in the same spot, we're going to go with a second. Everything's harder on camera, isn't it? And then now when I go for the third, I'm actually going to go in between on the other side, because with the way that I stitch this, and I feel like it makes it a little stronger, I actually don't go in where most people would for my stitches. As we're going back up, instead of going in here where those stitches were made, I'm actually going to go in between the stitches. I feel like it spreads things out and just makes it a little bit stronger. But I'm going to go all the way down like that. And for me, as I'm making these, instead of going into these loops like most people would right there, I'm always going to come all the way back here, which I feel like makes it just a little bit stronger. Now, in the first round, and let's switch props here. in the first round, once I go all the way around once, then I'm going to do 2, had it out of frame there. I'm going to do 2 in the 3 on the end. The next round, I'm still going to do 2 and 3 in the end. Rounds 4 and 5, I'm going to do 3. You can kind of see it here. 1, 2, 3 spots where I did 3 stitches in a single stitch. This is the way that I increase this to make this a nice flat oval. Now, this has 5 rounds on it. This is as big as I like to make the base. This is where we change to doing the sides. And in order to do the sides, I'm going to switch to, and do this for only 1 round, but I'm going to do what Americans at least call a single crochet. However, there's a trick to it. So I was saying, my single crochet is going to go through the back loop only. Let's pull some out here to work with. It's going to be a single crochet, so that means I'm just putting my hook straight through, grabbing a loop, so I have 2 loops on my hook, and back loop only. And I just do a single round all the way around like that. And what you'll notice is that in doing that, that's going to give this line that you can see here. That's actually basically turning us from the base up to the top. Once I go, let's find it here. Once I go all the way around, you can see kind of the stagger here. Since I met my single crochet here, I'm going to go back to my half double, and I like to go for 22 rounds. Alright, so once I get up 22 rounds, then I'm going to go from the end, flattening it out, kind of lining it up to see. I'm going to do 10 stitches over. Once I do those 10 stitches, I'm going to count all the way around because I like to make sure that my handles are centered. Now in this case, I counted that there was 76 all the way around. With that, I divide the 76 by 2 to tell me from here to here is 78. Since I like 10 on each side, 76 divided by 2 is 38. Subtract 10 and 10. That gives me 18 stitches here. So that means after I've gone in my 10, I do a single chain of 40 stitches. I skip 18, and then I just go back to my half doubles all the way around. Once I've done that, it becomes very similar to finish out. The only difference is that these end parts that are just like the base of the bag continue to be the half double, but for the handle itself, we're doing a single stitch. And so you can kind of see from over here, I like to make sure there's a diagonal going up there, and I try to aim for what I have for 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 rounds, and I found that that gives a good sturdy handle. So once I do 5 rounds, I'm going to come down here in the body part. I'm going to do 10 with that half double. Then I am going to, I think it's actually the other end here. Then I'm going to do 10 slip stitch before you can kind of see it hiding there, tie it off. So guys, that is the steps for how I make one of these bags. Admittedly for me, it used to take about 12 hours to make one of these. I now complete one in about 10 from pile of grocery bags to this finished. As you can see, there's a lot of different things you can do with the colors depending on what bags you have and how you want to make your balls of plarn. Experiment with it. Let me know if you make it, and if you really want, if you guys are interested enough to ask about it, I've also made flowers to embellish these. They're great if you have just a small amount of other colors of plarn like I do. If enough people ask in the comments down below, then maybe I'll do a how-to on my plarn flowers that are easy to tie onto any of these bags. But that is how I make these bags that started me down the plarn road. Again, ask any questions if you have them down below. Love to hear about it. If any of you make any of the plarn projects that I have, I will add this to the plarn playlist. And I'll talk to you guys later.